Story about Albert Einstein. Welcome to today's story about one of the greatest minds in history, Albert Einstein. We'll learn about the amazing life of Albert Einstein. From his early struggles to his world-changing discoveries, this story is perfect for improving your English while discovering how he became one of the greatest minds in history. Let's get started. Albert Einstein was born on March 14, 1879, in the small city of Ulm, in the Kingdom of Württemberg in the German Empire. His family was Jewish, but not particularly religious. His father, Hermann Einstein, ran an electrical business, and his mother, Pauline Koch, took care of the home and enjoyed playing classical music on the piano. As a baby, Albert was different from other children. He was quiet and didn't speak until he was nearly 4 years old. His parents were worried about his development, but Albert was simply absorbing the world around him. When he finally started speaking, he asked deep and thoughtful questions, a sign of his natural curiosity. When Albert was 5 years old, his father showed him a compass. Albert was amazed by how the needle always pointed in the same direction, no matter how he turned it. He later said this was his first encounter with the mysteries of science, and it sparked his lifelong curiosity about the natural world. Albert started school at the age of 6 in Munich, where his family had moved. He attended a strict Catholic school, and although he was a bright student, he didn't enjoy the rigid teaching style. Teachers focused on memorization and discipline, while Albert preferred to think for himself and question everything. Despite his struggles with school, Albert excelled in math and physics. By the time he was 12 years old, he had taught himself advanced mathematics, including calculus. He loved solving puzzles and thinking deeply about how the universe worked. However, Albert's rebellious nature got him into trouble. He disliked authority and didn't get along with some of his teachers, who thought he was lazy. One teacher even told him, "You will never amount to anything." When Albert was 15, his family moved to Italy because his father's business failed. Albert stayed behind to finish school but soon dropped out because he couldn't stand the strict environment. Instead, he joined his family in Italy, where he spent time thinking, reading, and studying on his own. At the age of 16, Albert decided to apply to the Swiss Federal Polytechnic School in Zurich, Switzerland. He wanted to study physics and mathematics, but the entrance exam was tough. He passed the math and science sections with excellent marks, but failed in other subjects like languages and history. The school recommended he complete his secondary education, so he enrolled in a high school in Aarau, Switzerland, and graduated a year later. In 1896, Albert entered the Polytechnic School in Zurich. Here he met Mileva Maric, a fellow student who shared his passion for science. They spent hours discussing ideas, and their relationship grew stronger. Albert graduated in 1900 with a degree in physics. But he struggled to find a job because his independent nature had upset some of his professors, who refused to give him good recommendations. Working at the patent office, in 1902, Albert finally found a job at the Swiss Patent Office in Bern, Switzerland. As a patent clerk, his job was to evaluate new inventions and decide whether they were original. This work gave him financial stability and also plenty of time to think about his own scientific ideas. During this period, Albert married Mileva, and they had 2 sons, Hans Albert and Edward. However, their relationship became strained over time, as Albert was deeply focused on his work, leaving little time for his family. The Miracle Year, 1905. In 1905, Einstein published 4 revolutionary scientific papers in a German physics journal. This year is often called his Miracle Year, because these papers changed the world of science forever. 1. Photoelectric effect. Einstein showed that light behaves like tiny particles, called photons, as well as waves. This idea laid the foundation for quantum mechanics, and later won him the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1921. 2. Brownian motion. He explained how tiny particles in liquids move in random patterns, proving the existence of atoms. 3. Special theory of relativity. Einstein proposed that the laws of physics are the same for all observers, no matter how fast they are moving. He introduced the famous equation, E equals mc squared, which shows that energy and mass are interchangeable. 4th, relativity of space and time. He suggested that time and space are not fixed but relative, meaning they can stretch or shrink depending on speed and gravity. These groundbreaking ideas made Einstein famous in the scientific community. By 1914, Einstein was invited to work at the Prussian Academy of Sciences in Berlin. Here, he developed his general theory of relativity, which expanded on his earlier work. In 1919, this theory was confirmed during a solar eclipse, proving that light bends around massive objects like the sun. This discovery made Einstein a global celebrity. Challenges and personal life. Einstein's personal life was not as successful as his career. His marriage to Mileva ended in divorce in 1919. He later married Elsa Lowenthal, his cousin who supported him during his busiest years. In the 1920s, Einstein traveled the world, giving lectures and meeting other scientists. However, as a Jew in Germany, he faced increasing hostility from the rising Nazi Party, which accused him of promoting Jewish science. When the Nazis came to power in 1933, Einstein realized he could no longer stay in Germany. He renounced his German citizenship and moved to the United States, where he took a position at Princeton University in New Jersey. Einstein became a vocal critic of fascism and a supporter of peace and human rights. During World War II, he wrote a letter to President Franklin D. Roosevelt, warning that Germany might be building an atomic bomb. This letter led to the creation of the Manhattan Project, which developed the first nuclear weapons. Einstein later regretted this, as he was a pacifist and opposed war. In his later years, Einstein focused on finding a unified theory to explain all the forces of nature, but he was never able to complete this work. He also spoke out against racism, war, and nuclear weapons. Einstein passed away on April 18, 1955, at the age of 76 in Princeton, New Jersey. Before his death, he requested that his body be cremated, and his brain was studied to understand his extraordinary intelligence. Einstein is remembered as one of the greatest minds in history. His discoveries changed the way we understand the universe and paved the way for technologies like GPS, solar power, and quantum computers. He was not only a brilliant scientist, but also a humble and compassionate person who believed in using knowledge to make the world a better place. Einstein's story teaches us the importance of curiosity, imagination, and persistence. He once said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world."